These days, everybody wants to run to the hardware store or call a plumber the second something goes wrong. But there was a time when your grandfather could fix just about anything in the house with a few simple tools and a little know how. The truth is, most of those old fixes still work just as well today as they did 50 years ago. After 3 decades in the plumbing trade, I can tell you that some of the best solutions are the ones people have forgotten. Today, I am walking you through 7 household fixes, straight from your grandfather's toolbox, that can save you real money and real headaches. Stick around for number 6, because that one fix used to be the most common repair in every home in America. And the bonus tip at the end is something most people have never even heard of. The first forgotten fix we need to bring back is using Plumber's putty instead of silicone for sink drains. Now, if you have ever installed a kitchen sink basket strainer or a bathroom drain flange, chances are somebody told you to reach for silicone caulk. And sure, silicone works. But your grandfather knew something that a lot of modern DIYers have completely forgotten. Plumber's putty is often the better choice for these jobs, and the reason is simple. It never fully hardens. That might sound like a bad thing, but it is actually a huge advantage. When you use Plumber's putty under a sink drain flange, it creates a watertight seal that stays flexible for years. And here is the real beauty of it. If you ever need to remove that drain for cleaning or replacement, it comes apart easily. You are not sitting there with a razor blade trying to cut through a rock-hard bead of cured silicone. Just roll the putty into a rope about 3/8 of an inch thick, press it around the underside of the flange, and snug everything down. Wipe away the excess that squeezes out, and you are done. One thing to keep in mind is that Plumber's putty can stain certain materials like marble, granite, or some composite sinks. So if you are working with a natural stone or porous surface, check the label for a stain-free formula. But for standard stainless steel or porcelain sinks, classic putty is still the gold standard. The second fix from Grandpa's era is one that can save you a service call in about 30 seconds. I am talking about fixing a running toilet with a simple float arm bend. If you have an older toilet with a ball cock style fill valve, you will notice a brass or plastic arm that connects the float ball to the valve. When that float rises with the water level, it is supposed to shut off the fill valve at just the right point. But over time, that arm can get slightly out of adjustment and the water just keeps running. Your grandfather did not replace the whole fill valve assembly. He simply reached into the tank and gently bent the float arm downward about half an inch. That small adjustment lowers the point where the float triggers the shutoff. And just like that, the running stops. No tools required, no parts to buy. Just a firm but careful bend with both hands. Now, if the arm is brass, it bends easily. If it is plastic, be more gentle because plastic can snap. And if bending the arm does not solve it, the rubber seat washer inside the ball cock might be worn out, which is a separate repair. But 9 times out of 10, this simple bend is all it takes. The third forgotten fix is one that used to live in every single toolbox in America. And that is clearing slow drains with a hand crank drain snake. Before there were chemical drain cleaners on every store shelf, people used a simple 25-foot manual drain snake, sometimes called a drum auger. You feed the cable into the drain opening, Turn the crank handle clockwise, and the coil tip grabs onto whatever is causing the blockage. Hair, soap scum, grease buildup. It pulls it right out or breaks it apart so water can flow freely again. The reason this works so much better than chemical cleaners is that the snake physically contacts the clog. Liquid drain cleaners just sit on top of standing water and often do not reach the actual blockage. Worse, those chemicals can damage older pipes, especially if you have galvanized steel or aging PVC joints. A 1/4-inch cable snake handles bathroom sinks and tub drains perfectly. For kitchen sinks with heavier grease buildup, a 3/8-inch cable gives you more cutting power. Feed the cable in slowly, and when you feel resistance, tighten the thumb screw on the drum and crank steadily. Pull it back out, clean the cable, and run hot water for a couple of minutes. Grandpa kept one of these in the basement, and honestly, so should you. By the way, if you are finding this advice helpful, you should know it is just a small sample of what I have put into my new guide, The Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It is packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands. To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let us continue. The fourth fix on our list is stopping a small pipe leak with a hose clamp and rubber patch. This is a true old-timer emergency repair, and it is one of the most practical tricks you will ever learn. If you discover a pinhole leak or a small crack in a copper or galvanized pipe, you do not always have time to solder or replace the section right away. Your grandfather kept a piece of old inner tube rubber in his toolbox for exactly this situation. You cut a patch of rubber about 2 inches by 3 inches, wrap it tightly around the leak, and secure it with a standard stainless steel hose clamp. Tighten the clamp down firmly with a flathead screwdriver or a 1/4-inch nut driver, and the rubber compresses against the pipe to form a temporary seal. This is not a permanent fix, and I want to be clear about that. But it can absolutely buy you days or even weeks while you plan the proper repair. The key is using real rubber, not a rag or tape. The rubber conforms to the pipe surface and maintains compression under the clamp. Keep a couple of hose clamps in various sizes in your toolbox, along with a square of rubber sheeting. When a leak surprises you at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, you will be very glad you did. The fifth forgotten household fix is silencing water hammer with an air chamber reset. If you have ever heard a loud banging or thudding in your walls when you shut off a faucet or when the washing machine valve closes, that is water hammer. It happens because fast-moving water slams to a stop and creates a shock wave in the pipes. Older homes were built with short vertical sections of pipe near fixtures called air chambers. These air chambers act as cushions because the air inside them compresses and absorbs the shock. The problem is that over time, water gradually absorbs the air in those chambers, and they fill up with water. Once that happens, there is no cushion left, and the banging starts. Your grandfather knew the fix was dead simple. You shut off the main water supply to the house, then open the lowest faucet and the highest faucet in the home. Let all the water drain out completely. This empties those air chambers and lets air fill them back up. Once the water stops flowing from the lowest faucet, close both faucets, turn the main supply back on, and let the system refill. The air chambers are now recharged, and the banging should stop. The whole process takes about 15 to 20 minutes and costs absolutely nothing. If your home does not have air chambers, or if the problem persists, you can install water hammer arresters at the problem fixtures. But try the drain down method first because it works more often than people expect. The sixth fix that belongs in every toolbox is tightening a loose faucet handle with a seat wrench and a new washer. There was a time when this was the single most common household repair in the entire country. Compression-style faucets were standard in nearly every American home from the 1920s through the 1970s, and millions of them are still in service today. When these faucets drip, it is almost always because the rubber seat washer at the bottom of the stem is worn out. Your grandfather would shut off the water supply under the sink, remove the handle screw and pull off the handle, then unscrew the packing nut with an adjustable wrench. The stem pulls straight out, and right there at the bottom you will see a small brass screw holding a flat rubber washer. That washer presses against a brass valve seat inside the faucet body. When it wears down, water sneaks past, and you get that maddening drip. Replace the washer with the correct size, usually 3/8 inch or 1/2 inch, and snug the brass screw back down. But here is the step most people skip. Use a seat wrench to check the brass valve seat itself. If it feels rough or pitted, you can either regrind it with an inexpensive seat grinding tool or replace it entirely. A smooth seat plus a fresh washer gives you a drip-free faucet that will last for years. The whole job takes about 10 minutes, and the parts cost less than $2. The seventh and final forgotten fix is using white vinegar and baking soda to restore flow in showerheads. If your shower pressure has been gradually dropping, there's a very good chance the problem is not your plumbing. It is mineral buildup inside the showerhead. Calcium and lime deposits slowly clog the tiny spray holes. And over time, you go from a satisfying shower to a sad trickle. Your grandfather did not buy a special descaling product. He unscrewed the showerhead by hand or with a strap wrench to avoid scratching the finish, dropped it into a bowl of plain white vinegar, and let it soak overnight. The acidic acid in the vinegar dissolves mineral deposits without damaging the metal or plastic. For stubborn buildup, he would make a paste of baking soda and a little water, scrub the face of the showerhead with an old toothbrush, and then soak it again. You can also poke a toothpick or sewing needle through each individual spray hole to break loose any remaining deposits. Rinse everything thoroughly with warm water. Screw the showerhead back on with a wrap or two of thread seal tape on the threads, and you will feel the difference immediately. This same method works beautifully on faucet aerators too. Just unscrew the aerator from the tip of the faucet. Soak it in vinegar for a few hours, scrub it clean, and reinstall it. Do this once or twice a year, and you will maintain full water pressure at every fixture in the house. And now for the bonus tip that professional plumbers swear by. This one goes back further than most people realize, and it is something I learned from my own grandfather before I ever picked up a wrench professionally. Keep a small mirror in your toolbox. Not a fancy inspection mirror, just a simple, compact mirror, the kind you might find in a medicine cabinet. When you're working under a sink or behind a toilet in a tight space, a small mirror lets you see around corners and behind pipes without contorting yourself into painful positions. You can spot leaks, read stamped markings on valves, check solder joints, and verify connections in places where your eyes simply cannot reach. It weighs nothing. It costs almost nothing. And once you start using it, you will wonder how you ever worked without it. Old plumbers carried one every single day, and there is a very good reason why. Before you go, I want to make sure you know about my complete guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It is packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands. To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. Thanks for watching. And if you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss the next one.